Dear students, in today's class, let us discuss about methods to start synchronous motor. So this will be one of the important question which will be asked in the final UET exam in module 5. Hope you can see how many number of times this question has been appeared in the final UET exam. The question will be like explain the methods for starting synchronous motor. Okay, now let us see the different methods for starting synchronous motor. Description here is as seen earlier, synchronous motor is not self-starting. It is necessary to rotate the rotor at a speed very near to synchronous speed. This is possible by various methods in practice. The various methods to start synchronous motors are first one using pony motors, second method is using damper winding, third method is as a slip ring induction motor, and the last fourth one is using small DC machine coupled to it. So here already we know that synchronous motors they are not self-starting. The reason is very simple because rotor for one instant it is going to experience torque in the clockwise direction and suddenly for the other instance it is going to experience torque in the anti-clockwise direction. By the time it wants to change the direction and want to become unidirectional, the inertia of the rotor is not allowing for the rotor to change the direction. Because of that, the net torque experienced by the rotor is zero because of instant changing of the stator poles. So because of that, synchronous motor will be not starting on its own, so it is not having self-starting property. So how to start this synchronous motor at the time of starting? There are certain methods. So out of those, the first one is using pony motors, second one is using damper winding, then third one is as a slip ring induction motor, and fourth one is using small DC machine coupled to it. So in the exam they will ask explain any one method, means you can explain for any one of the method, and if they particularly ask for any of the method, then you should explain for the same particular method only. So check the weightage of mass and accordingly you can explain for the method. Okay, if it is very simple, then you can go for pony motors, or else you can go for damper winding. If it is for more number of marks, you can go for slip ring induction motor. So check the weightage of the marks and accordingly you can answer for the question. Okay, now let us see the description for pony motor, how it is going to help for synchronous motor to start on its own at the time of starting. Okay, first one is using pony motor. What is this? Let us see here. In this method, the rotor is brought to the synchronous speed with the help of some external device like small induction motor. Such a external device is called pony motor. So here, to provide some external torque to the rotor at the time of starting for the rotor, here we are going to couple that rotor with a small induction motor. So this small induction motor will provide some external force for rotation of the rotor. So that external force, whatever we are getting from the external device like small induction motor, that external device is called as pony motor. So this pony motor, it will help for the rotor to move at a synchronous speed. Okay, once the rotor attains the synchronous speed, the DC excitation to the rotor is switched on. So once rotor is made to run at a synchronous speed, then rotor, since it is having DC winding, then we are going to apply the DC excitation. By turning on DC excitation, we are going to apply the DC supply. Okay, once the synchronism is established, pony motor is decoupled. So once there is a synchronism established between stator and rotor magnetic fields, then the pony motor will be decoupled. Means it is switched off. The pony motor will be disconnected from the rotor. Okay, the motor then continues. The motor then continues to rotate as a synchronous motor. From then onwards, the motor is now acting as a synchronous motor with the help of pony motor. So this pony motor, this will just run the rotor at a synchronous speed. Once it is made to run at a synchronous speed, then we are going to apply DC supply to the field winding. Then synchronism will be attained with the help of magnetic locking, and then synchronous motor, it is now running safely as a synchronous motor. But once synchronism is attained, then pony motor has to be disconnected. So this is all about pony motor, which is this pony motor is simply like a small induction motor which provides external force or the external torque. Okay, then the second method is using damper winding. So this is the circuit for the damper winding. So here in this case, this is the field winding which is having plus minus DC excitation points, field F1, field F2. On to this we are going to have damper winding which is short circuited. This is the circular structure. This is a ring like structure. This is a damper winding. Okay, now let us see how this damper winding will make the rotor of the synchronous motor to rotate. Okay, in a synchronous motor, In addition to the normal field winding, the additional winding consisting of copper bars are placed in the slots in the pole faces. So here, in addition to the field winding of the synchronous motor, there will be the slot to place the damper winding, which are made up of copper bars, and these are placed in the slots of the pole faces. These are placed in the slots of the pole faces. Okay, the bars are short circuited with the help of end rings. So all these copper bars, they are short circuited with the help of end rings. Okay, such an additional winding on the rotor is called damper winding. So this additional winding onto the field winding, it is called as damper winding. It is short circuited with the help of end rings on both the sides. Okay, this winding, as short circuited, acts as squirrel cage rotor winding of an induction motor. So now, since it is short circuited on both the sides with the help of the end rings, now it is going to act as a what is that, squirrel cage rotor of an induction motor. So this will be acting as a squirrel cage rotor of an induction motor. Means here this is acting as a drive to rotate the rotor. So this is acting as a rotor of the squirrel cage induction motor. So this induction motor action, it makes the field to rotate field to, sorry, it makes the rotor to rotate in one particular direction, whether it either it might be clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. The schematic representation of such damper winding is shown in the figure 7.7.1a. So this is the schematic representation of the damper winding. So this inner winding is the, as usual, field winding, and on to this is the damper winding, which is made up of copper bars, and it is placed in the slots of the pole faces, and it is short circuited with the help of the end rings. It is having completely short circuited form of the circuit. Because of that, this is going to act as the rotor of the squirrel cage induction motor. Okay. Then, once the stator is excited by three-phase AC supply, the motor starts rotating as an induction motor at subsynchronous speed. So, with the help of this damper winding, when we give the power supply, AC three-phase power supply to the stator winding, then it is going to synchronous motor. It is going to run at a sub-synchronous speed, because here already this rotor, it is having the it is acting as a squirrel cage rotor of an induction motor. So once we give the power supply to the stator winding, then this is going to run at a speed of it is going to run at a sub-synchronous speed, and that too motor is acting as a induction motor. Then DC supply is given to the field winding. After, once the motor is running at a sub-synchronous speed, then DC supply is given to the field winding. Then DC supply, that is plus minus polarity DC supply, is given to this field winding, inner winding. Okay. At a particular instant, motor gets pulled into synchronism and starts rotating at a synchronous speed. So earlier it is acting as an induction motor, and that too running at the subsynchronous speed. And after giving the DC excitation, at one particular instant of time, synchronism is achieved. Means rotor will be stator is going to pull the rotor. Because of that, magnetic locking will take place. Because of that, since stator is running at the synchronous speed, then rotor is also going to run at a synchronous speed, and thereby it is going to run safely as a synchronous motor. As rotor rotates at synchronous speed, the relative motion between damper winding and rotating magnetic field is zero. So here rotor is rotating at synchronous speed, so the relative motion between damper winding and the magnetic field, that is stator magnetic field, it is zero, because both are running at the same speed. Means automatically it's what is that uh, its relative motion will be zero. Okay, because both are running at the same speed. Hence motor is running as a synchronous motor. So now stator and rotor both will be running at the same speed, that is synchronous speed. Because of that, now motor is running safely as a synchronous motor. There cannot be any induced EMF in the damper winding, because the speed of the stator field and the damper winding both are having the same speed, that is synchronous speed. Because of the synchronism, because of that, the relative motion will be zero, or the relative speed will be zero. Because of that, EMF or the voltage is zero in the case of damper winding. So damper winding is active only at the time of starting. So if there is no voltage in the damper winding, then this is as good as open circuit now. So damper winding will come into picture only at the time of starting of synchronous motor. Once synchronism is achieved, then EMF in the damper winding will be zero. Then automatically this will be acting as open circuit. Open circuit in the sense, damper winding will not be coming into picture once synchronism is achieved, or once synchronous motor is running safely. This will be this will act its function to start the to start the synchronous motor only at the time of starting. Okay, to run the motor as induction motor at start. So only at the time of starting, damper winding will help the motor to start as a induction motor because of the nature that damper winding is acting as a rotor of the squirrel cage induction motor. Okay. Now, afterwards, it is out of circuit. So, once synchronism is achieved, then damper winding is out of circuit. It means that voltage across this damper winding will be zero. As damper winding is short circuited and motor gets started as induction motor. So, at the time of starting, since damper winding is short circuited, because of that, this synchronous motor, it is acting as an induction motor and it is going to draw high current as it is acting as an induction motor at the time of starting. So it is going to draw high current because of shorted damper winding. Okay. So in order to limit this starting current, we are going to make use of certain starters for this motor. So those starters will be like star delta starter or auto transformer starter, etc. So in order to limit the high inrush current through the synchronous motor, which is behaving as an induction motor at the time of starting but drawing extra current. So in order to limit that high inrush current and to protect the motor, we are going to make use of starters to control the current. The starters will be like star delta starter or auto transformer starter, etc. Okay, used to start the synchronous motor as induction motor. So here usually at the time of starting the synchronous motor, it is behaving as an induction motor and it can be made to start on its own with the help of the damper winding. But at the same time, it is when it is acting as an induction motor, it is also going to draw extra current, high current, because its damper winding is short circuited. Because of that, we need to control the starting current, and to protect the motor from the high starting current, we are going to control that current just by making use of the starters like star delta and auto transformers or starter. So this is all about using damper winding. So this damper winding is nothing but a copper bars placed in the slots of the pole faces, and it is short circuited on both the sides, and it is acting as a rotor of the squirrel cage induction motor. So thereby, this, at the time of starting, with the help of this damper winding, synchronous motor will behave as a induction motor, and it can start and it will start on its own. But once synchronism is achieved, then the relative speed between the damper winding magnetic field and the stator magnetic field will be zero. Relative motion will be same. Because of that, EMF induced in the damper winding will be zero. So now damper winding will be acting as an open circuit. Means it will be taken out of the circuit once synchronism is achieved. So this damper winding will come into picture in order to start the synchronous motor as a induction motor at the time of starting. Once it is made to start on its own, then this will come out of the circuit, because the once synchronism is achieved, the voltage in the in this damper winding will be zero because of relative motion of this damper winding field and stator field will be same. Because of that, relative motion will be zero. Hence, EMF will be zero in the damper winding, and now damper winding will not be included in the circuit once synchronous motor is acting running at a synchronous speed. Okay, only at the time of starting, this damper winding will help the synchronous motor to behave as induction motor and to start on its own. Okay, so this is all about using damper winding. Now coming to the third method of starting synchronous motor, it is as a slip ring induction motor. So now here in this case, the synchronous motor, it is made to behave as a slip ring induction motor. So this is the synchronous motor, and this synchronous motor, it is made to behave as a slip ring induction motor. Okay, why it is made to behave as a slip ring induction motor? Let us see the reason for this. Okay, the above method of starting synchronous motor as a squirrel cage induction motor does not provide high starting torque. So the above method is what? Using damper winding. Here this is acting as a rotor of the squirrel cage induction motor. So this method, it is having certain drawbacks. So what is the drawback? The second method, using damper winding, it is having the drawback that it is behaving as squirrel cage induction motor and does not provide high starting torque at the time of starting. So it is not going to provide us high starting torque. So to achieve this, instead of shorting the damper winding, it is designed to form a three-phase star or delta connected winding. So instead of making the damper winding to act as a squirrel cage rotor, instead of that, we are going to alter the design of the damper winding, where the damper winding will be connected either in the form of the three-phase star or delta connected winding. Okay, then because of this, we can improve the starting torque. Because of this, we can improve the starting torque of the synchronous motor. Okay. The three ends of the winding are brought out through the slip rings. An external rheostat can be introduced in series with the rotor circuit. So now here you can see that this is the rotor. It is connected in star fashion, and this is the stator winding. This is also connected in star fashion. So here this rotor which is having star connection, so the other three terminals of the rotor, they are connected to the slip rings. They are connected to the slip rings, and from the other ends of the slip rings then to the brushes, it is given to the switch here. It is given to the switch. This is for the DC excitation purpose, and on the other side, if you throw this TPST switch, then it is getting connected to the series resistance, series starting resistance, which will be connected in series with the rotor. Now, what is the function of this starting resistance, DC supply, everything we will look here. Okay. And then the three ends of the winding are brought out through slip rings. An external rheostat can be introduced in series with the rotor circuit. Already I told you this is the external rheostat, which is nothing but the resistance, and this will be connected, getting connected in the series form to the rotor in case if we throw the switch on this other side. Okay. Why this resistance is necessary, everything we will see here. So when stator is excited, the motor starts as a slip ring induction motor, and due to the resistance added in the rotor provides high starting torque. So already we know that in damper winding where it is behaving as a squirrel cage induction motor with low starting torque. So in order to improve the high starting torque, we know that starting torque can be improved by adding the resistance to the rotor. So hence, just to add the rotor resistance, we are going to make the synchronous motor to behave as a slip ring induction motor by making use of the slip ring brush assembly here. So here, what is the necessity? Just to improve the starting torque, we are taking the help of resistance connected in series with the rotor, and to do that, we are going to make use of this intermediate device like slip ring brush assembly. Okay. So when stator is excited, the motor starts as a slip ring induction motor. So give the power supply to the stator, then it is going to act as a slip ring induction motor. And due to added resistance in the rotor provides high starting torque. So now, if suppose if the switch is connected on this side, then this resistance get appeared in the form of series, in the series form to the rotor, and because of that resistance is connected in series means resistance get added to the rotor. Because of that, as the rotor resistance increase, then starting torque will be improved. So this is the reason why we are going to make use of resistance at the time of starting, just to improve the starting torque. Okay. The resistance is then gradually cut off as motor gathers speed. So once the motor is going to attain enough speed, by providing high starting torque at the time of starting, then slowly we should remove the resistance. We should cut out the resistance. Okay. It should not be kept in the same high resistance value only, because unnecessary power wastage will take place. Okay. The resistance is then gradually cut off as motor gathers speed. So once motor is going to gather the sufficient synchronous speed, then we should remove the resistance. We should cut out the resistance. Okay. When motor attains speed near synchronous, DC excitation is provided to the rotor. So by the time after removing the resistance, the motor is going to attain to the synchronous speed. Then at that time, we should give the power supply to the DC, to the field winding, to the rotor. Rotor means this side. Now the switch has to be connected to the other side. Means if we throw the switch on the other side, then this is the DC supply. So to provide the DC supply, there will be only two terminals, positive and negative. So what we should do here, there are three terminals. RYB means we can short any of the two terminals. This terminal and this terminal, you can short it, and you can do the negative power supply to this, and the remaining one more line, whatever it is there, for that you can use the positive supply. So because of this, you are going to give DC excitation to the rotor once synchronism is attained. Okay. When motor attains speed near synchronous, DC excitation is provided to the rotor. Then motor gets pulled into the synchronism. So once we give the DC excitation, then motor is getting pulled by the stator. Then stator is going to pull to the rotor. Because of that, now altogether motor is entering into the synchronism state. That is, it is acting as a synchronous motor now, and start rotating at synchronous speed. Now it is going to rotate at synchronous speed because of giving the DC excitation. Okay. Because of magnetic locking and everything, it is going to run at a synchronous speed. Because of that, it is going to act as a synchronous motor now. Okay. The damper windings, the damper winding is shorted by shorting the slip rings. The initial resistance added in the rotor not only provides high starting torque but also limits high inrush of the starting current. Hence, it acts as a rotor resistance starter. So here, the damper winding, it is shorted by the slip rings. This whatever the damper winding we are using now, so it will be shorted by the slip rings here. And then this high resistance whatever we are adding at the time of starting, it is along with giving the high starting torque, it is also going to control the starting current, because at the time of starting this resistance is very very high, means it is going to limit the starting current, and henceforth it is going to act as a starter function is just to control the starting current. So therefore it is going to act as a rotor resistance starter to limit the starting current. So it is going to limit the starting current. Along with that, it is going to improve the starting torque. So this is all about using as a synchronous motor as a slip ring induction motor. Okay, and then the synchronous motor started by this method is called slip ring induction motor, as shown in figure 7.7.1b. So this is the circuit diagram for starting synchronous motor as slip ring induction motor, where synchronous motor it is made to act as a slip ring induction motor with the help of this brush ring slip assembly. Okay. Now, it can be observed from figure 7.71b that the same three-phase stator winding acts as a normal rotor winding by shorting two of the three phases. So here there are three phases. So now what we are doing, out of the three, we will short two phases. We will short two phases of the rotor. It is going to act as a normal rotor only. Okay, we will be shorting two phases of the rotor, and we are going to connect it to the negative supply, and the one more remaining, this phase we are going to give it to the positive supply. So now the only one conduct phase which is going to carry the positive supply, suppose if this carries the current capital I, then this current I, it is getting divided into the other two sections, the half, that is I by 2 and I by 2 in the other two terminals, where these two terminals have been shorted and it is connected to the negative half supply. So positive half supply, which is connected to the only one terminal of the rotor, it carries the current I, and this same current I, it is getting divided as half in the other two windings. That is, here after by the time it is going to reach to this neutral point, here the current will be I by 2, and the remaining other current, it will be I by 2 in other two phases, which will be which has been shorted and connected to the negative half supply. So it is going to act as a normal rotor only. Okay. Can be observed from the figure 7.7.1b that the same three-phase rotor winding acts as a normal rotor winding by shorting two of the phases. From the positive terminal, current I flows in one of the phases. So from the positive terminal, current flowing to the positive terminal is capital I. Okay, and capital I flows in one of the phases, which divides into two other phases at start point as I by 2 through each when switch is thrown on the DC supply side. So once the switch is thrown on the other side, the current which is flowing I in the positive half cycle, the terminal which is going to carry current capital I through the positive supply of the DC supply, this current is getting divided at this point, starting point, I by 2 and I by 2 in the other two terminals which are connected to the negative supply, and these two terminals are shorted. Okay, so this is all about synchronous motor making to be made to behave as a slip ring induction motor. Okay, and now let us see the last method. The last method is using small DC machine. So how the synchronous motor can be made to start on its own. So here rotor can be made to rotate by this can be driven by the small DC machine. It is just like a first method, that is using the first method is using small induction motor like pony motors. Whatever we have seen in the first method, that is pony motors, it is similar to the first method only. The fourth method is using small DC machine coupled to it. So now let us see the last fourth method, using small DC machine. Many a times the large synchronous motors are provided with coupled DC machine. Okay, so here large synchronous motor, if we just to provide its self-starting property, this large or high power synchronous motors, they will be coupled with the what is that, DC machine. This DC machine is used as a DC motor to rotate the synchronous motor at synchronous speed. So this DC machine, which is nothing but a DC motor, this is going to drive the synchronous motor, and it is going to rotate the synchronous motor at synchronous speed. Okay, it is going to run the synchronous motor at synchronous speed. Okay, once it is going to attend to the synchronous speed, then it is as usual, we are going to provide the excitation to the rotor, then synchronism will be attained, and then it is going to run as a synchronous motor. And if we want, you can disconnect the small DC machine which is driving to the synchronous motor. Okay, many a times the large synchronous motors are provided with coupled DC machine. This machine is used as a DC motor to rotate a synchronous motor. So here, large synchronous motor, it will be coupled to DC machine, and this DC machine, whenever it will be driving the synchronous motor, it makes the synchronous motor to run at synchronous speed. Okay, then the excitation to the rotor is provided. Then the DC supply excitation is provided to the rotor field winding. Once motor start running as a synchronous motor, the same DC machine acts as a DC generator. So now, once the motor is running normally, synchronous motor, then the coupled DC machine, it is going to act as a DC generator or exciter. So now, whatever DC excitation which is required for the field winding of the rotor, that DC excitation will be provided by the same DC machine, which is now acting as a DC generator, and it is called as exciter. Why? Because this gives excitation to the DC field winding. So the small DC machine, whichever it is coupled to the large synchronous motor, initially it is going to drive the rotor, and it will make the rotor of the synchronous motor to run at synchronous speed. And then DC excitation will be given, and then synchronism will be attained, and then synchronous machine will be running at a synchronous speed, and now it is acting as a normal synchronous motor. And later on, now this DC machine which is coupled for starting purpose, now the same DC machine, it will act as a DC generator, and this will provide DC excitation to the field winding. Because of that, we call this as exciter. Okay, the field of the synchronous motor is then excited by this exciter itself. So now, once synchronous motor, once the small DC machine, it is going to run the synchronous motor at synchronous speed. Then for providing the DC excitation, the same DC excitation can be achieved with the help of this small DC machine, which is now acting as a exciter or DC generator. So these are the four methods for starting synchronous motor. The first method is using pony motors. Then second method is using damper winding. Then synchronous motor made to behave as a synchronous, what is that, slip ring induction motor. And final one is using small DC machine coupled to it. So it is usually 5 to 6 marks in the final VT exam, which will be asked repeatedly. So if this question is asked, then you should start to explain from this point. Okay, from this point, first you list out all the four methods, and depending upon the weightage of the marks, you can explain for either pony motors or damper winding, or as a slip ring induction motor, or using a small DC machine. Whichever method will be asked, you can explain for that method. And if the weightage of marks is more, better you can explain for slip ring as a slip ring induction motor. Okay, so this is all about methods to start what is that, synchronous motor. And the question will be like, a review question will be like, state the methods of starting synchronous motor, explain any one in detail. Okay, so the question will be asked like this in the final VT exam for methods to start synchronous motor. Or the other form of the question will be like, write a note on methods of starting of synchronous motor. So you can write the short note on methods for starting synchronous motor. So this is the kind of question what you can get it from methods to start synchronous motor. Okay, this is all about today's class. Have a good day.